Hey everybody. You'll see my caption talks about how suicide has damaged me. You're probably wondering how my 46 Dodge behind me here, nicknamed Joe, has anything to do with suicide. I know we don't like talking about it. It's a tough situation. It's tough for people that are facing it. It's tough for people who have lived beyond the ones who have committed suicide and are left with all the questions. But this truck has a lot to do with suicide. This truck was given to me by one of the most amazing uncles I ever had, my Uncle Joe. He called me up one fall and said, "Don, why don't you come up? I've got some tools for you, and I've got that Dodge truck. I'd like to give it to you. I know you could build it into a neat hot rod." And when I got up there, we talked about it. He really wanted to rat rod it. That was his dream. And little did I know, after making him take some money for all the things he gave me, I gave him money and left, that 6 months later I'd get a phone call that he committed suicide. Probably one of the toughest phone calls to ever get. And I'll be honest with you, from that time on until recently, it's just been a really tough thing for me to wrap my head around, especially my Uncle Joe, last guy on earth I ever thought would commit suicide. And I couldn't build the truck. That's when he committed suicide, I got rid of some of the parts. I gave them away, kept some of them. It just was too painful for me to even think about building that truck. I just couldn't wrap my head around Uncle Joe leaving us in the manner he did. And it wasn't until about a year and a half ago that finally I really felt like, man, Uncle Joe really wanted that built, and I'm going to build it. And so I started on that quest, and I got a donor truck and just kept working it. And me and Uncle Joe had a lot of time to spend together the 4 years before he committed suicide, and just really got to know him. He spent a lot of time helping me out, and just love him. Just enjoyed every minute I had with him, and the smell of his pipe. To this day, when I think of Uncle Joe, I still can smell his pipe. But the fact that somehow in his life he felt like his purpose had been served here and it was time for him to expire himself just doesn't seem right to me. He had so much life left and so much to give, and I had so much to learn from him. And I know a lot of people in suicide get to a point, and it just breaks my heart that someone can get to a point in which they feel they don't serve a purpose anymore, or maybe they're not loved. And there's a lot of different reasons for it, and I get it. But building this truck has been really, really some good therapy for me. Just trying to reel through the questions of why did Uncle Joe do it and what causes a person, think about all these things. And I told my wife, I said, I just feel so helpless and I want to do more. And listen, if you're a person that's wrestling with these thoughts of suicide, know that you are loved, know that you have a purpose and you were set on this earth for that purpose. And know that there's someone bigger than all of us that loves you, and he's created you for a purpose. And I think that's where we've gone wrong, is we don't understand love, maybe, as a society. I mean, you look at the top two unnatural causes of death in America, it's suicide and drugs. And yet we want to talk about gun prevention, all this other stuff. And it's weird to me because supposedly we've become the society that's been so accepting, will accept anybody. They can be whoever they want to be, and we shouldn't bully anybody, and we should all love one another and accept. And the one thing I'm learning through these statistics is, if we've been so accepting, then why are people dying at such a large rate willfully at the hands of drugs and suicide? And I think it's because love. We've lost the vision of love that was so elegantly laid out for us through Jesus Christ by God sending his only Son for us. And know that you are loved. If you're struggling with those feelings, know that you are loved and God has sent you here for a purpose. And I think what I want to do is I want to do more. And there's a lot of good charities out there. So over the next week, I just want to hear your suggestions on a charity that we can donate money to. And I want to challenge you to help me donate money. And here's how I want to do it. Joe behind me here, he has a 4BT Cummins in him, and he can roll some coal. And you know what rolling coal is, for those of you who don't know, it's when you really give the pump, the throttle, opens up the pump, dumps a bunch of fuel in there, and black smoke rolls out, and we call that coal. And I want to challenge all you gearheads out there with diesels, all you people that love to see diesels roll coal, that make a pledge. We're going to pick a charity, open up a GoFundMe to stage that money and then give it to that charity. I want to call it Rolling Coal for Life, suicide prevention. And what I want to challenge you is every time you roll coal willfully or you see someone rolling coal, that you'll pledge a dollar amount. Maybe it's 25 cents, maybe it's $1, maybe it's $10, maybe it's $100. Whatever it is, I want you to challenge yourself, pledge it, and then every time you see it, tally that up and donate that money to the GoFundMe. We'll open up a GoFundMe here in about a week once I've picked a charity. But listen, no one should ever feel hopeless and helpless to the fact where they have no one to talk to. If you're struggling and you're thinking about ending your life, my prayer is that you'll reach out to someone. Reach out to some of the hotlines that I have below. Reach out to someone you know. I've learned that talking can solve a lot of things as far as feelings go, and that it's a long process, I get it. But let's fight the good fight. Help me, commit with me to just do this one thing of raising money to help people overcome suicidal thoughts and crisis prevention. I appreciate you listening to my video. I'll share more of my and Joe's story in the upcoming videos. God bless you.